Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We are going to continue our journey in discovering a little bit more. One more expression a day. So yesterday we talked about 手脚应用. That's the situation when you cannot just rely on 2 feet. You have to use both your hands as well to help with going up more vertical space. So it's more comparable to bouldering practice. That's when you are going to use both your hands and feet. Okay, today we have, I forgot to highlight it. We have a 手脚 again, but we pair it with the same adjective, which is 笨. So 笨 is the main character today that we want to unpack. I translate it as slow, but actually it has a lot more meaning to it. And because Chinese is not like accurate, like one-dimensional word, it's multiple dimensions. So you can probably apply all of that to the situation here. Okay, 笨手笨脚. The 笨 came from the bamboo side. So normally we have a plant symbol. When we say grass, it's upward turning curves, concave, convex. Okay, convex with a vertical line. So the vertical line is like the stem of that. And then it's normally that's how plants grow, right? Their leaves are going to point upward. And that's kind of give you a sense of upward pointing, like a sun-facing, sun-reaching plant position. But bamboos are different. They have longer leaves each and a skinnier leaves, right? And so they don't really have the airflow to stay upward pointing, but they're kind of draping downward, and that becomes the main feature of bamboos. And the bamboo leaves captured in here in this concave shape like this with vertical line. That's kind of a twigs connecting them to the main body. So that's a visual representation of bamboo. So you can see the bamboos are so prevalent and important in Chinese culture that we create a separate symbol for them. Like besides everything else, that's kind of a grass or plant-based, bamboo is its own category, and it has the curve pointing the other way than the grass. Okay, so the bottom is the root symbol. The root symbol is easy to see. Okay, so this is a tree symbol without the horizontal line, which is made of this upward pointing, right? Just like a tree, it's always upward pointing, growing upward, anti-gravity. I mean, going the other direction of gravity. That's the canopy of the tree, and then the major trunk. And I would like to regard it as the spacer between the canopy and the ground. And then, okay, so one audience point out that this could look like, this could be the root of the tree as well, because I guess most of us know already it is. I never see it in person because it's underground, but a tree's root is supposed to be even deeper or higher than the canopy. So however far reaching on the top, the visible portion is only the tip of the tree. Okay, the main tree body is underground, and the root, if we view the root as the branches corresponding to the branches above the ground, the underground portion goes actually deeper than the tree itself. So that's probably why the upward canopy looks like a smaller arch than the bottom one, because the underground portion of the tree is even more gigantic. And this horizontal line is kind of going across all that tree roots to indicate that's exactly where we're talking about. We're talking about the root of the tree. So now the original meaning of this bamboo plus the root of the tree means the inner side of the bamboo. So the bamboo have a kind of a green color. A lot of them are purple or brown color bamboo. When it gets old, it's kind of a yellowish color. So the shell of the bamboo is mostly like commonly used as a kind of surface in furniture, in Chinese furniture using bamboo. It's the smooth bamboo surface that we're using. And if you cut open the bamboo, inside is this fluffy, a little bit fluffy, white-ish color thing. That's kind of the inner, the bone marrows, almost like if we use bone structure to compare. So this inner, softer, more porous portion is where you know all the traffic of nutrition flow, right, from the root upward. So that's their freeway of nutrition, and that's the portion we're talking about. This character, the bamboo with the root, it's not talking about the root of the bamboo. Actually, it's talking about the inner traffic of nutrition of the bamboo, the inner side, the softer, but that's what keep bamboo alive portion. And so in that sense, it's the root. It's the extension of root. Think about it, right? So the root is the underground portion that take care of sucking up the nutrients in the surroundings, right? And then that's the starting of the nutrition. And then the traffic goes upward. Whether it's water or minerals, something underground that's going to suck up in this porous structures. And this is the traffic goes upward. So in a sense, it's an extension of the root, right? So we are talking about the bamboo and the root, the essential, the inner portion of it. So that inside of the bamboo was the original referral when it's based on the physical world. Eventually, this character was then used appropriate to other situations. So there are several meanings now, 3 major meanings. The first one means something heavy. Something heavy. I mean, bamboo itself is a light plant, even if it's sturdy. So I guess in terms of sturdiness, not breaking, endurance, bamboo has all that good features. But at the same time, it's the middle portion of it is empty. So it's a light. It's not a solid inner. It's a circular mostly. And it's a light but strong material. So how this bamboo inner portion was appropriated to mean something heavy is beyond my imagination. If anything, it's like the opposite of heavy, right? Compared with other solid inner wood, this is like empty, like that's the light one, but somehow it was used as heavy. And from that heavy, okay, heavy is in terms of weight, right? So how gravity is pulling the thing. So that's heavy. And with heavy, it got derived a meaning as slow. Because it's heavy, it got to be slow moving. So the slow motion, this slow moving physically, horizontal. So heavy is this vertical, right? Toward the ground, that's heavy. And if because of that, so horizontal moving becomes slow. And then the third meaning becomes, okay, this horizontal motion of things applied to one's cognitive ability, it starts to mean slow in understanding something. So if the horizontal, moving of things, compare it to horizontal moving understanding of like external observations coming to mind and process it, and then come up with some factual based or observation based response or action to the environment. That process, if it's slow, this inner out, so input, output, if that becomes slow, that's horizontal, considered comparable. That means the third kind of slow. The third meaning. So heavy, slow moving physically, or slow moving intellectually. Okay, so that's the 3 meanings of 笨. And when we pair it with 手 and 脚, obviously it has nothing to do with your brain work anymore, right? So this is about your moving, your coordination of your hand and feet. And show again this 5-finger hand with the middle finger somewhat pointed. I don't know, middle finger was a saying in a Western culture. I don't know why ancient language creators signify middle fingers a little bit different. I have no clue. Okay. And then 脚, again, we have this muscle. So this kind of, I would imagine that's almost like a depicting of the biceps, side view of biceps, right? And then you have muscle kind of signify over there. So that's your muscular symbol. And then this is the kneeling sign. So ancient way of sitting on feet, on the, basically on your heels and your feet kind of stacking up for meals. So that's how Japanese still sit, I think, at least traditional way. That's preserved, that's observable. Like that was the practice back then when you don't really have chairs and tables as today when we sit like contemporarily. Ancient times, it's just a low-lying table on the tatami, right? And then you got to position yourself, kind of a squat, but instead of squatting, you kind of kneeling in this way for a long time, kind of sitting on your feet. And so eventually that position of sitting on your feet, this foot symbol originally means the calf or the shin segment of that of human body, but eventually it extends to the very end of the shin, which is the foot. So I still haven't figured out what's the middle portion. Middle portion means departure. So how that relates to make the concept of foot still beyond me. But contemporarily, when we see the symbol, it's foot. Slow foot, slow hand. What does that mean? Okay, it's a Chinese way to say somebody is clumsy. And clumsy in English definition, most likely, is it not necessarily means that somebody is moving slow. It could mean somebody moving not coordinated way. So it's knocking off things. So that's the kind of clumsy. But Chinese, we would use 笨, coming from this heaviness and then slow moving. This concept to pair with a show, hand and foot. I mean, apparently it's plural, but you have to apply to both hands and feet to capture the meaning of clumsiness. And this 笨手笨脚, it got to be a contemporary Chinese kind of translation. Just because the way it looks, right? It doesn't really sound ancient enough to me, but that's a capturing of the corresponding concept of clumsy. I mean, I'm trying to think of if there is any ancient way to describe somebody as coordinated or not coordinated, or is it true that all Chinese are coordinated, that in such a way that clumsiness doesn't really be a thing in Chinese culture, that we don't really have an ancient description to this, and this is a Western concept, and in English we have to translate it and have to come up with something to describe how clumsy that could look like. And then it's 笨手笨脚. I don't know the full story of that. I can only say this is an interesting translation. And this is the Clumsy Cow children's book translated into Chinese cover. And you can see 笨手笨脚. That's, graphic designed, Chinese stylized. You can see this is standardized Chinese, you can see that. And 的 is, we call it a 白勺的 的 because it's word white and spoon together. It's almost like off in English. And 奶牛 is milk ox. So milk ox, ox that produce milk is Chinese definition of cow. We have that way of translation. Okay, 笨手笨脚. Catching into the conceit of thinking by one word a day. See you another day.